haven't seen that tool,
It's called
or haven't read about it.
The heater button.
The heater button is like it. That's what it was referred to in this article I was reading about. But basically, TikTok employees can artificially promote content of their own choosing, and it's usually directed from a higher up, like, hey, this is an influencer we want to like really keep happy on the platform, so we're gonna heat up this content. Ooh, we'll have to take this offline, but I got interviewed by a Department of Defense agent the other day.
Are you in trouble, or are you helping someone who...
They had questions about someone that you know. But
oh wait, I know they do that kind of stuff if someone's like getting a certain job or clearance and they check around. Is it that nature? You don't have to reveal who it is, so it's not. It's like
someone applying for top secret clearance.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think
it was interesting.
Nice.
He like came to my office and everything. It was a little weird. I thought it was just going to be like a phone thing, but no.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not something you experience every day.
No, it was weird.
Did he show you the badge?
He did. I asked to see it because I was like, "This is just strange."
Yeah, you got to make sure some dude just don't want.
Not that I knew if it was real or not. Like, just
it's like some plastic.
Oh yeah,
badge.
that looks legit. Yep.
Checks out. You're good to go.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing. So there you go. So have you paid attention to, like, I know you just watched it, my viral going TikTok. It's not viral, but like, are you familiar with de-influencing as a trend?
I don't think so. At least not by that name.
It was new to me. Full disclosure, several things from this episode are going to be stolen from Marketing Brew. Great newsletter. Please go read it. But they had a little blurb about de-influencing as a trend a few days ago. And apparently it started around the turn of the year, I think, primarily in like the beauty side of social media, like beauty product, TikTok and Instagram, and it's becoming
which is one of the more highly influencer heavy areas,
right?
Yeah.
Where people are de-influencing, basically calling out sham products or like, this is a bad deal, don't spend your money on this or whatever.
Just sounds like player hating, man.
The most diabolical haters this side of the Mississippi.
That just sounds like everyone's just getting nasty.
A little bit, but it's kind of,
yeah,
it's like meta to me, because there's not Meta the company, but like, it's weird because you're de-influencing through influence. So you're saying, don't be influenced, but let me influence you to not be influenced.
Yeah, it's interesting. Do they have to mark that with like the ad hashtag? I guess you probably don't if it's not actually, it's an anti-ad. Like it's a...
From what I could tell, most of it is like anti-ad, but I do think a few people are starting to say like, don't use that, but use this instead. And then it's kind of like...
So could you like
using de-influence to actually influence?
So can I reach out to an influencer, pay them a bunch of money to go do a de-influence post, and we don't have to act like it was a brand deal because they're not promoting my brand and they're just attacking my competitor? Not that I have the funds to do that or would necessarily recommend that, but
I do think like it's a really, from a social perspective, it's really interesting. Like, it's kind of cool to see people thinking critically about what they're seeing on the internet. Like, we need that right now, but I think it could be weaponized so easily.
My wife follows some, I don't even know their names, but like there's some influencers, people that she's followed over the years that have like, it's not de-influencing. They weren't doing that, but they kind of like, it's kind of funny. I shouldn't make fun of it because I think they're probably being sincere, but it just seems kind of funny. They like renounce their influencer ship, like that I've been giving you my perfectly filtered life and it looks perfect. And like my life's really not that perfect and I don't want to give the wrong idea and the harms of social media. So then they like step away and just basically start influencing with less filtered images and showing themselves crying sometimes, but they're still getting money from and still doing deals but they're like, I'm not going to try to be a Kim Kardashian influencer. I'm going to be the girl next door influencer. And it's like, anyways, it makes me laugh.
It's clever. I think it's smart. I mean, there's a move toward authenticity in quotes because nothing is authentic on the internet. But
Social media
this is Camden.
it is.
We're authentic.
Think about this, like social media, like the whole term influencer, that came about. I mean, the people have been spokespeople and stuff since the beginning of advertising, but I mean, like that social media version of what an influencer is. There's people who got really big on social media, and then they're like, "Hey, I can get people want. I have a large audience. People want to access that. They'll pay me to do stuff," and that kind of came organically. But because of that, a thing that was, remember the old Facebook bar, like what, like your name, and it's like what's on your mind, and it was just like sharing random stuff about your day or your thoughts or your opinions. That's how social media, like MySpace, started.
Yeah.
There are now people who set up an account for the first time on a social media platform with the goal of becoming an influencer. It's like there's some goal to be achieved. It's not about being social, connecting with your friends, and putting yourself out there and just having a social interaction. It's like, so it's just fun. I mean, that still happens, obviously, but such a high percentage of social media is people out there to gain something. That's going to inherently change the nature of the space. I mean, then we can get into all the different, the politics and the manipulation of media and all that. Anyways, all of that. But it's like, it used to be what you had for lunch today and trying to hit up girls or something, but like, which that still happens too. But now it's this entrepreneurial hustle, get something out of it endeavor.
Yeah.
Here we are, me and you.
Interesting being like somewhat elderly millennials to see that full progression of it all. I remember when it was just
I'm
like,
a young millennial.
Josh is, no, you're not. I'm like a year older than you. Yeah, like it was like Josh is, and then it was like fill in the blank. Josh is sleepy.
You just like put the emoji sometimes. You wouldn't even have to like write it out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never actually was one myself to be very social on social media. It wasn't just, I didn't feel the need to do that. But yeah, my feed, think about it. If you just right now, and part of it's because I guess we're in like a profession that uses social media, maybe people we follow, but like if I right now open up any app, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok's a little bit different. TikTok's a Wild West. But like Facebook or Instagram, when I start scrolling, 90% of what I'm seeing is polished, curated displays of an ad or a concept or a mission or a program, or like hardly any of it is like, hey, here's me and my dog, or yeah, it's all purpose driven.
My Instagram feed is more memes than people now.
Yeah, or memes. That's true. Yeah, Instagram for some reason is like, yeah, it's the meme spot for me.
It's so weird. I remember, this is like going down nostalgia lane, but like 10 years ago, I started working at an online news organization, and we were posting stuff daily on our website. We had like a daily newsletter that went out that aggregated all our stories from the day, went out at like 3 p.m. every day. And then we would also post every article on Facebook. And that was where the bulk of our traffic came from, was just organic social traffic from Facebook. And that's where all the engagement was. People were there. And then I remember it was like late 2013, maybe ish, when Facebook announced they were going to start like cutting down brand page reach from your followers. So like, even though we had 30,000 followers on our Facebook page, they were going to cut how many of those we could reach unless you started paying for it. And I remember that being a big deal. And now that's just accepted. Even if you have all your followers aren't going to see your content. But I remember when that was a big deal, and it pissed me off.
It changed the way that the heads of these companies, the teams of these companies decided to make optimizations or updates or changes. It wasn't just anymore, how do we give people the best social experience? It became, how do we do that within the framework of people who are super trying to monetize this or compete with this or spread information or try to do, like, all these things have now played into the algorithm and the planning. It's interesting.
Yeah. I think Facebook started to realize that a bunch of companies were making money for free using Facebook, and they had to find a way to take advantage of that. And they did.
And it's weird too how like we all have the exact same access in the beginning. Like if you wanted to start, I don't know, a chocolate company, like you have to have you have to have the ability to get certain machinery and ingredients and plant to like make. You can't just start doing that one day. But I could just 5 seconds after I had the thought, start up an Instagram account and start posting things and doing things like, and so the level of being an influencer. Again, I'm not saying it's easy or anybody can just do it. We'd have a lot more views right now on our channel if it was easy. But I'm just saying, like, there's not the barrier to getting into it is nothing. These platforms don't even cost money to open up, and so
Yeah.
anyways, it's interesting as well.
Yeah, it's true. Actually,
Got flooded.
I'm gonna put out a little challenge for anyone who watches this. A few years ago, I created an Instagram account. You don't know this, for myself, just to post pictures of cars from a video game that I play, just screenshots from the game, and posting them and kind of pretending like it was like a car influencer account.
I want to go find it. Yeah, and
I just want to see if anybody can find it. I got maybe, I think I still have a little over 100 followers.
is it still active? Are you using it?
I haven't posted in several years, but I
Nice.
might bring it back just because it was a fun little side project.
That's funny. I started an account kind of like that. I didn't get very far. I didn't even maintain it for like a year. And it was purely mainly just for my own benefit. I mean, I want people to see it if they enjoyed it. I like basketball, right? And I like to play, like traveling around. I haven't done a whole lot of it until recently. But like it was an account where I would just post photos of different basketball courts that I'd been to. Like just whether it was like the hoop or the court, like on the beach in a certain gym at this, at the Rex, and like it was just a collection of different basketball setups.
That's a cool idea. Yeah.
And it was mainly just to be like, one, I want to go have this fun reason to go try out a new court every now and then, and play. I like playing basketball. And then it would kind of be a catalog of like my scrapbook of like places I played, but it was also supposed to be a little bit like artistic, like it's like a scrapbook to basketball or something. Anyways, but I'm not that committed to like thinking about it all the time. Every once in a while, like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm at a court. This is a cool place. If it's like a good looking place, like an outdoor court or something, I'll snap one. But yeah, it's definitely not like it's not doing numbers.
Do you still post to it when you snap the picture?
I would. Like I have the account and I haven't declared it done, but I also don't think I posted in over a year and a half probably. So I need to go find a new court and make a snap.
All right, you bring that back. I'll bring back my car thing. Okay. It'll be good. Well, okay. So speaking of social media, I wanted to talk about some brands get involved in not social media, but social
causes.
Thank you. They have like a purpose, a benevolent purpose, or sometimes they're just posting crap to be supportive of a movement or whatever. And an article in Marketing Brew, again, not sponsored by them. Maybe they should be our sponsor.
We should just invite someone on.
Yeah, we should. They had a great article earlier this week about, like when should brands like post or not post when there's some big thing happening in the country or the world. And then that got me thinking about, like, we've had conversations back when we were working together about whether or not it made sense for a brand to get involved with a certain cause and how to integrate that into their marketing. And it's an interesting thing. And I remember other conversations when I was at Relic, when it was kind of like, well, should we post anything right now? Should we not post anything? Should we kill social right now? Should we not? And it just is an interesting topic to me. So when should brands speak up and when should they shut up? Give me the answer.
It's a good question. I'm not the all-knowing expert on that. If I did, I would write the book on it. But my gut kind of, again, this is, as I say it, I'm sure there's probably some holes in this logic and you can point them out. But I feel like my quick answer, the quick summary is there's two parts. One, if it's a no-brainer, if you have to ask the question and wonder, I'm leaning toward not, because if there's something that's such a no-brainer that it affects you, that you know you and your company have a certain united opinion about it, or a take, or a way to help, or something like that, then it's a no-brainer. Probably do it. If you're like, should we post this? You probably shouldn't. But the other part of what I'm trying to say is like, if that's the case and you are wondering, and again, this is probably a flawed answer, I think the potential benefit, and the benefit can be defined in different ways, needs to outweigh the potential downside, because sometimes the downside of not posting is what I meant to say. Like, if I don't say anything right now, what's the worst that can happen? If it's this much. But what if I post and it goes well? What's the best that can happen? If that's that, okay, post. If this is the worst that can happen and the best is this happened, be quiet, let it pass. Like, it's gotta. You can miss out on a gain this big to avoid a problem this big. Maybe there's exceptions to that, and that's hard to also scope out what that even would.
Yeah, there needs to be like a risk assessment.
Yeah, and it's not even that you like let's say you have a reaction, and you and your team are unified, like you have a clear opinion. What I'm not saying is that you need to like bottle up your opinion and give in, but like sometimes you have an opinion that you go home and talk to your family about, or you talk about it in the office, and maybe there's people who would throw things at me and say I'm not seeing it right, but they're like, if your company as an organization, as a brand, is going to come out and comment on something, there's plenty of times that it makes sense to do that, but then it needs to be a clear reason to do so, where the risk of not doing it is bigger than doing it. I think.
Yes.
Now I'll think about that and probably challenge myself on that. But
well,
what do you think?
To one of your points, this is what the author of this article said, was like, if you have to ask yourself, should you post something, or is it okay to post something right now? The answer is probably no. Like, if you have to ask yourself that question, probably not. Like, so I think you're right that if it feels instinctual for your brand to get involved because of how your brand has stood on things in the past, then sure. But then I have another question. Do you think, I didn't give my opinion at all, and that's okay. Do you think when, say, there's a big national story, let's say either a shooting, because those are a thing, or if there was a like a big national catastrophe, like a earthquake or whatever, is it okay for brands to still like post like normal? To like, for Subway to post their sub of the day, or
it kind of depends, like, which is always it's a cop-out answer, but like, it depends. If there's like a shooting in my city where my headquarters are, and I'm running some promotion to come on down for like that, like, that's no, just cancel your event. Like, it's not good for that. If it's something on the other side of the country or world that was terrible, but it affected a certain small group of people, like, maybe it could be okay. Like, I don't know. It's just hard. It's the nature of what happened, what's the details of it, and what are you posting about? It's hard. I need to know the specifics.
All right, I'll give you a hypothetical.
Like the Russia-Ukraine stuff's been happening for a long time now. I don't think people should have been just silent, except for Russia-Ukraine stuff, for the last few months.
So let's talk about a U.S. brand, well known nationwide, and there is I'm trying to think of something that's roughly apolitical.
It wouldn't be an issue if it wasn't.
I know. Here's a good example, like the tornadoes in Joplin, Missouri, a few years ago that killed a whole bunch of people. It was a big deal. It had a national impact, even though it was somewhat localized. You're a national brand. There's a big conversation happening around what just happened to a whole bunch of people is it okay to just throw some brand message in the mix? It's not related, just like, here's a sale for the next week.
So here's my question about your question, though.
Okay.
When you say, is it okay? There's two ways you can answer that question. Is it okay in the sense that you will be safe and no one will have a problem with it? Or is it okay that you could do it and take whatever heat you get and it's still worth it? Those are different answers.
Let's say, well, what is the risk assessment? Let's say your brand is a retail brand and you were planning on posting about a big sale. What would be your risk assessment? Like, would it be tone deaf to, yeah, I guess is my question. Like, is the risk of posting about your sale that day, like,
what's
is it
important
worth
to you?
it or not?
I'm going to put you on the spot to answer the last one. If you're the leader of that company, which is worse to you? And again, I'm talking worst case scenario. So like maybe no one notices or no one cares. Let's just say you do it and people are like, ooh, bad taste, bad move. If your goal was like, I am part of my brand promise and my commitment, my personal, as I am never going to create that feeling about me and my brand. If then you have failed if you create that situation. If your goal is instead saying, I'm going to try to avoid that, I want to sell my product and help provide a good service for the community, and you have a week of booze and then things continue and you still sell your product, then was it worth it? Well, based on that goal, then yeah, totally worth it. It depends on what you like, what you're basing your success on.
Long term versus short term, basically.
Because like I'll take
what you're saying.
I guess I don't know. I'm not saying one's right or the other, but I'm saying to answer your question, it depends. It depends on like what you. For example, here's a real life example, and I know it's been. I don't want to get too political and stuff, but like I brought them up as an example of kind of doing whether you love or hate or are indifferent about Chick-fil-A and what their brand's based on and what their ownership attaches themselves to politically, socially. They have got a lot of flack for what they are and the way that what they stand behind and make it known in public and what they contribute to and all that stuff. And if you think the nature of having that kind of brand or being based on that things is bad, like then they're hurting their image and they're failing in that regard. If that's your criteria, if your criteria is them selling chicken sandwiches, they're doing really fine at selling chicken sandwiches.
Sure.
And so it's like, which one do you, if you're the brand manager, are you saying, man, you're really hurting our brand? Or are you saying you're selling a lot of chicken sandwiches? So it's, which one's, yeah. And actually, you could it's different. You can also argue that some people who are in their maybe they're helping their brand with a certain audience by being.
Yeah. So that's where my head's going. Like Chick-fil-A is a great example of a brand that has like stuck its foot in the ground about some certain things. Other examples would be like Patagonia comes to mind. They're very environmentally forward and friendly, and I say friendly, but they can be pretty aggressive at times about being really anti certain other industries. But I think like if you have established your brand as that, then that's a perfect time to like get involved in those conversations. It's like that's when you have a brand stance, that's when it's really easy to know one way or the other. Like,
yeah, that's true.
If you've built that into your brand. If you haven't, if you're like freaking Sears or Dillard's or whatever,
Sears. Are they still around? Yeah,
we're gonna pretend they are for this example. Like
they would love to be in the news right now. Yeah,
yeah.
But no, I get what you're saying. That I think that comes back to then again. I'm not someone who's saying never take a stand on something that's important to you. I by all means do that if you feel that it's need to. But if you're just purely thinking about, is this going to be hurting is this going to be a good post for our brand or not? If it doesn't have something that like if you're Sears, then no. Whether you love it or you hate what's happening, you don't need to say anything about it because it's not connected to your brand. You stepped out of your brand focus, your brand values, your brand promise, your brand whatever, your brand identity to comment on something that has nothing to do with you. I'm sure you have opinion. If you're a human being, you probably have a thought and opinion.
Sure.
You love what's happening, you hate what's happening, you want to promote something, but so go do that on your personal profile, which is hard sometimes when people like are associated with a brand, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's a different topic. But the brand itself, nope. You wait for things that have to do. That's how you stay brand consistent. Is if it's related to you and your brand, what you do, comment on it. If not, you don't need to.
But going back to my original question,
Unless you want to.
let's say you're not even commenting on it, you're ignoring it and
That's right.
posting your other stuff.
You're right. I kind of twisted the question.
But because I do agree with you on that point, like if you don't have a brand stance or whatever, just shut up about it and don't worry about it. But
what you do is you don't be the first one to post that day. You see how everyone else gets received, and then you react accordingly. But I don't know, like January 6th, for example, right? Like,
yeah,
that's an example of like the kind of thing happening where, as a brand, you had something ready to post at like 10:30 a.m. on January 6th, and you're like, should I post this now?
Yeah, like that's a great question. Because like, will it? Maybe it is not even like whether you love what's happening or not, whether you think it's good or not. You're throwing something unrelated into the middle of a very intense conversation.
I think
it has nothing to do with what's going on.
This is maybe not a very it's not a very specific answer, so maybe it's not useful. But I think that you get safer the less clearly promotional conversion driving you are. If it's a hey, buy one get one deal, if it's a come on down and use this promo code, that's more. Come on, man. Like, that just doesn't fit as good. Those are kind of annoying anyways. No one likes that stuff. But, like, that doesn't fit. Whereas if you are a destination on the beach and you post a really pretty beach photo, which is the caption, like, beach vibes or something, super random but specific examples. Now, did you need to post it? Sure, you could have waited a day for that. I also don't think people are like, hey, why are you posting pictures of the beach today? It's just kind of like keeping active on social.
Beach vibes? Well, the Capitals being overrun, like,
wouldn't you rather be on a beach than thinking about that? I don't know. But like,
I know. So at the place where you and I used to work together back in 2020, there was a social media movement for a day.
Oh yeah,
around George Floyd and his shooting death, and there was like the whole Instagram Black Square thing, and a lot of people were jumping on board. I think there were millions of individual black squares posted that day. And then, and there were criticisms about whether it made sense to actually do that or not. Whatever. We won't get into that. But a lot of brands partook. And I remember us having a conversation. I don't know if it was you and me, but me and several other people at the agency anyway talked about whether it made sense for we all agreed that none of our clients should post anything about the situation. It just wouldn't make sense for their brands. But we had an internal argument about whether we should post anything. And there were some people who were like, if you post nothing today, that's a statement in and of itself.
If you post it every day up till that point and skip that day, it is. But if you were already sporadic, then not really. But yeah, I do remember that day, or that it wasn't just a day; it was kind of a period of time when that was happening. And yeah, it's tough because there's always going to be people. It goes back to just branding in general. If you're trying to please everyone, you can't. And so, who are you trying to reach? Because that specific example is just one example in the real world. But like, take that for example. If you would have done what a lot of other brands were doing by, like the Black Square, something like that, there'd be plenty of people that were grateful you did that and gave you support. There'd be people who were upset you did that. Vice versa, if you didn't say anything and just went silent for a while, there'd be people who were happy you did that, and people would be mad, hey, where are you? Why aren't you talking about this? So you're never going to please anybody in that time. Everybody in that time, it's still a rife world out there with controversy and stuff. But that's just where, depending on your brand and your values, I guess, you have to decide who am I wanting, who do I care to stand with more.
Yeah.
And that's where now let's get meta, for example. If we're talking, you're a brand, you have to decide that. If you're an agency or something like us who's consulting a brand like that, you have to decide where do I, if my personal values and opinions, where does that start and end where it comes to my consulting of a brand and what they do? Like, hopefully you're not working with someone that you just totally don't vibe with. That's going to be a rough relationship anyways. But if you have a client or relationship where you're like, what you value as a brand and build yourself on is different than what I want to promote and build myself on as an individual, that can be tough because do you stand by your guns? Say, I'm sorry, client, you might not like this, this might hurt our relationship, but I'm going to do this, whether you want to or not. Or I'm not gonna, or I'm not gonna do this for you. Or do you say, don't love this one, but this is on their social calendar, so I'm gonna post this. I don't know, it's hard.
I mean, in agency world, I feel like you have to do a little bit about what the client wants. But I don't know. My personal opinion on all of this, what I would always advise a brand to do, whether it's right or wrong, this is just where I would fall on it, is if there's a big enough movement on social or whatever's happening, and you choose to post something that's unrelated completely, it's going to come off tone deaf. It's going to be like, you don't understand what's happening. I feel like it's safer for your brand to just post nothing.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not contributing to the conversation. And then don't contribute to the conversation if your brand isn't already set up to do so.
Yeah. I think I agree. Yeah, it goes back to what I was kind of saying about like the potential reward, potential risk, like missing, not posting, being silent. There's a lot of reasons that could be happening behind the scenes. That has you're avoiding a greater risk than the reward you could be getting from posting.
Yep.
And so, maybe you missed out on a sale that day. Maybe you missed out on consistency or a follower or two, but you avoided what could have been a lot worse. Post tomorrow or post a week from now, or like, I think I agree. Yeah. To the degree it does still a little bit depend on the nature of the thing. Like if it is something national, big, like your followers are aware, thinking about it, and getting lots of content of it, for sure. If it's something that you're like, man, that sucks that I read this thing that happened over there, but none of my followers may even be aware of it, you don't have to make the decision. I mean, if you personally want to, still you can. I'm not saying you have to post, but I think it's okay if like you have a little local following or you're like
sure,
they're not going to even necessarily know you're posting when that happened. You're probably fine. But yeah.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. In doing research for this, I collected some stories at times brands shouldn't have done anything, but then I came across a really cool tool that I didn't know existed. It's called the Hedanometer. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Hedanometer.
I thought those were extinct.
No, alive and well.
Sounds like a dinosaur name.
So I'm guessing you haven't heard of it either. So it's this tool that measures the average happiness of Twitter.
Is it ever very high?
So you can see it over time, and so you can see kind of what like the baseline happiness is, and then there are spikes in like really good days or like really bad days. Yep. And so this article from Marketing Brew is talking about how like if their brand chooses to post nothing, they wait for the Hedanometer to at least return back to average before they start posting again.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah. I'll put it in the show notes because it's kind of a cool tool.
Nice. Unless there are some brands though that will want to capitalize on the fact that they shouldn't be. I'm not saying I necessarily promote that, but there are some. If you're a brand, like there's gonna be a situation where you're like, I'm going to just completely appear tone deaf for like strategically. it's a very rare company that would maybe want to do that, or that I would advise doing that, or that like. But there could be a case for whatever reason that your brand, it would be on brand for you to do that. Go for it. But other than that,
I'm trying to think of a case where that would be advisable. Did you see Radio Shack going like off the rails last year?
when they were doing all like the spicy stuff.
Yeah, they were doing some of that, and then they were just saying like rude crap, and like they just kind of lost any sense of niceness.
No one's at the wheel anymore. It's
Just some angry, almost laid off employee.
that's got to be fun though. Just like
It would be.
you just
They
like
haven't
whatever.
posted since November.
Oh really?
They haven't. I was looking before this. They haven't posted since November, which is a little sad.
Oh man.
Okay, this one story I have to share with you because I hadn't heard about it, but I thought it was funny and really inappropriate. So this would be an example of something to not do. If you're going to jump on a hashtag, maybe make sure you know what it's about. Maybe that's the moral of this story, if I can find it. Back in 2014, so it's old. It's an old example. There was a trend on TikTok and other social about people sharing domestic violence stories. There was the hashtag why I stayed, and it was
Yeah,
it was a very serious hashtag.
Remind me. I
and-
think I've seen this, but I'm forgetting what brand it was. Yeah, keep going.
And then DiGiorno
Yeah, that's right. There's the pizza. That's right.
used it and said, hashtag why I stayed, you had pizza.
I forgot about that. Oh yes, DiGiorno.
That's a time when you say nothing.
I don't know, man. No, I was kidding. You should say nothing, but or not. I mean, not necessarily even say nothing, but just participate in the.
Don't
hashtag.
use the hashtag.
Oh, that's terrible. It's not domestic violence is not funny, but
No,
that's funny.
I
So,
really
like,
hope whoever posted that got fired. Like that's just so.
I want to be in that office when you're like, who posted it? And you're like, I did. It was trending. We have like 1 million comments on it. Like your most viral post you ever did as a social media manager was your last. Like you went out with a bang.
Ooh. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, unreal. That's just so painful.
You have to. I mean, I'm sure the story has come out, but I don't know what the details. But you have to assume that's somebody who, like I said, they just saw it trending and just thought it was kind of like something else. I don't know what they thought it was, but someone didn't knowingly hijack that and make the joke that you stayed because of pizza, right?
Yes,
I don't know.
you would think so.
Oh man, brand
So
accounts are
bad.
funny. The fact that we have brands on like a social media that are like an entity, like being like a person, it's just funny, man. You ever follow like Moon
It's-
Pies? They're goofy.
No.
Moon Pies, Wendy's, Slim Jim. There's a lot of these consumer good commodity type products that are just like, yeah, they're goofy. The
High
chicken
quality.
sandwich wars, yeah.
Nice.
Remember that Tampax one we read
Yes.
a couple weeks ago? I wonder how they've recovered from that.
Let's take a quick look. Hold on. Tampax US.
They backed away from it. They didn't embrace it. They were like, "Oh, our bad."
Yeah, they did. They haven't posted since their apology
At all.
at all since
Ooh,
November
scared
26th.
away. Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
They still have Amy Schumer in their banner. I'm
They
not
probably
sure if
they
that's
probably
any
fired
better.
the person who ran it, and now they haven't rehired or been able to get someone to come back. That's funny. That's funny. You made me think about it again. I can't remember the exact details. This is a bigger than like a social media tweet, but I should go back and look it up. But a couple Super Bowls ago, Planters Peanuts had a Super Bowl spot, and they had, there's like little teasers sometimes you do before the actual spot plays. Like they were gonna have, it was right when he'd already made it and cut it and were ready to run this ad, when Kobe Bryant passed away and people on his helicopter crashed and stuff. And they had some like helicopter based, I can't remember the details, but a helicopter and flying one was like very prominently placed, and it was like a week before the game. And so they're like, we can't run this, like we're gonna get reamed, and they had to quickly scramble and like right before the Super Bowl, which they put all this money into, right, cut a new like ending or a new, I can't remember how much they had to change it, but like they're like, we can't, it's done, we can't run that. And so yeah, timing of things can affect
It's
stuff.
a little important.
Yeah.
Okay, can I make one other point? Going back to the seriousness of the topic, it's just like one other. I'm getting more comfortable sharing my opinions on this show, so
There you go.
I'm going
That's
to
what,
do it.
that's what we need, so we can get some views. You know.
I know. Okay, so I also feel like if a brand is going to take on a social stance in some sort of way, whether it's Patagonia or Chick-fil-A or whatever, it has to be a core element of your brand. Like if it's a new element, lean into it. If it's something that's existed, keep it going. Like I think what rings really hollow and people talk about it all the time is when everybody posts a rainbow or adds a rainbow to their logo and during Pride Month. Like it's just stupid.
It disappears and
and it's disingenuous. And I saw a great article, I'm gonna have to find it again, I think it was on Vox, that went back and looked at brands who had posted a strong stance about the George Floyd shooting and the blackout day, and like had they like followed up on their actions. Are they actually trying to make some change? And they definitely called out some that were doing really well. Like Nike followed through on a lot of what they said they were going to do. Very smart. Ben and Jerry's not so much. They made a really bold statement and then did nothing, or so it seems. They haven't.
And do you have the ability to do something? But like, yeah,
like if you're going to take a stand, actually like do something.
I think a lot of it comes out of kind of some laziness to just like, well, what are we going to post this month? I feel like, oh, hey, it's June, it's Pride Month. Like it just kind of becomes like something to fill your content calendar with a lot of times.
Well, there's that, and then I think there's a former client that will go unnamed, wanted to create a social aspect to their brand. You know who I'm talking about. And they wanted it felt like it was going to be kind of tacked on. And it was like they just needed something to make it feel like they were doing some good in the world. But then they didn't really want to. It felt like to us anyway that they didn't really want to back it up.
It can't be just to sell product or try to get some attention for.
No, you will get called out for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're going to take any sort of public stance on a public issue,
so now's the time. This is all leading up to our big announcement at the stance we're about to take, right? Which is that can't wear white after Labor Day. I don't know. Just kidding. No, that's good.
Yeah,
this is a good topic. It's always going to be relevant because every so often there'll be a new. It'll become a topic to consider again, and it's good to keep thinking about it as a brand or as an agency or as anybody who works with public communication, PR in some way. Yeah, I don't know. Is there a perfect example of someone who's always gotten it right every time? I don't know, but it's the benefit and the weakness of being a big, well-known brand, or like, national brand, international brand, is like you can't really sneak by on some of those things. Sometimes you like, well, if we do something that's going to really be right, everyone's going to be looking at it, and if we don't do something, everyone's going to be looking at us. Like, you want the eyes on you all the time as a brand, until sometimes you're like, can you all just ignore us for a little bit? But yeah,
if you're small enough, you might be able to take something down after an hour or two and nobody will notice. If you're a big brand, you can't do that.
So which one? I don't even know where I'm taking this, so we don't need to go too much longer on it. But like, let's say you are one or the other. Let's say you're a company, a brand, an organization. Let's say a brand that should have jumped in on something and didn't, or you're a brand that should have been quiet and posted, whether it was about that thing or not. You just inserted yourself into the social feed that day and you shouldn't have. Which one of those things is more recoverable from? At the equal? Like which would you have rather done if you were the social media manager and you made a decision post and we shouldn't have, or we didn't post and we should have?
Probably would rather be in that we didn't post but should have camp.
I think it's safer. I agree.
Yeah.
And again, not that you should lie or be disingenuous, but there's lots of reasons. Maybe you never had a plan to post that day, or like someone was off, or you wanted to collect your thoughts first before you was like. There's a lot of reasons why you can save that more than like, oh crap, we posted. We can't act like we didn't mean to post. We just did. But
yeah, and I do think there's a case. It might be hard to sell, but I think there's a case for saying like, we didn't think it was right for us to chime in. It just didn't feel like it was appropriate for our
some people will still not like that
or whatever. Yeah,
that some people will still not like that. But like I said, you can't please everybody usually. Like what's happened a lot now is like it's this because of I talked about social media being like this battleground of like getting something and not just social. People will expect, oh, it's an event. What are people going to say about it? And they'll go and like reach out, tag, DM, and say, what do you have to say about this? Sometimes like they pester people to give their statement or opinion or something as a brand, and that's hard to.
Yeah, that's tough.
And it's tough when you're a big organization that has enough people that work within that are not all aligned internally on the perspective to like know. I don't know, like we want to be some big unifying brand, and the brand's what unifies us. But then this issue that happened, we're not unified on that internally. Like that's hard. Netflix is dealing with some of that recently.
yes, they are. But that's why you need to pre-plan. If you're a big enough brand, if you reach people in more than one place, like it's probably appropriate for you to start thinking about how you should handle different scenarios from a PR and social media standpoint.
PR, crisis management.
And even if your stance is like not to say anything on any social movement or whatever, that's fine, but have a response ready that your whole team is aligned behind for when that question comes. Why didn't you say something?
Yeah, that's the thing. If you can be authentic, be what you feel is best, then if you're being that way, I mean, obviously you have to represent. You can't necessarily please everyone in your organization, but if the people who are making the decision truly feel like what they're doing is right by them, then you have to be okay with whatever the consequences are. That's like my personal belief. Like, I mean, yes, you do have a responsibility to help take care of the brand and people that work for it and depend on it, but like, you shouldn't have to worry that you can be like, man, this sucks, but so be it. If you did what you felt you should have done, which just applies, I guess, to anything in life. Where the worst situation is if you try to just like guess how to game the system and get out of it the cleanest you can, and then that gives you, because then you just look ingenuous and you cause problems by what you did. At least be like, so be it. This is what I feel like we shouldn't have posted, or I feel like I should have posted, and then own up to it and just stick to it.
Yeah, own it.
Yeah.
Cool. We didn't argue all that much. We agreed.
Did you want to? We can argue about something.
I was kind of hoping we would. Maybe we'll get into it a little bit over the Super Bowl commercials.
Yes. Tune in. It's sort of on brand. We're going to be covering the Super Bowl commercials. Can't miss it. What kind of channel would we be if we didn't talk about that? So we're looking forward to it. Do you have any quick predictions? I posted my one prediction on TikTok about the Mayo, the Hellmann's.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to like pre-Super Bowl commercial news, other than that spots were going for $6 and $7 million, and
we should have got one of those.
Sold out. I know. We were just slightly late.
Fox can you imagine if one of us just had like a ton of money, like a rich dad or something like that, and we just like put a little plug for sort of on brand in the middle of the That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I would even be okay with like a pregame slot.
Oh yeah. You know what? On TV in any way during any show, I'd be okay with. Yeah. Maybe not
Yeah, I
any
might
show.
be able to rig us a cheap CTV. Bye.
Okay, we should do it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Super Bowl commercials, the national holiday, at least for us it is. Man, it's crazy. It's still like, is anything ever going to replace that as like? Because the reason it is, part of it's kind of tradition. It's like Super Bowl. We just we now have accepted it as a football game, but also a commercial experience. So people come for just that sometimes. But the reason that started is because it was like the most viewed televised event in the country, and so I'm like, is anything going to become the new Super Bowl where all the commercials are invested in that time? I don't know.
It'll be a while, but I like it just for the holiday portion of it in the commercials. I'm not a football guy. I don't really care who wins at all, but it'll be fun. I did see an interesting stat that like people who are looking forward to the game, there are more people looking forward to it for the commercials than for the halftime show.
Really?
Sorry, Rihanna.
No love to Rihanna?
Yeah, I know. Not that there's no love, but like percentages were. Yeah.
Interesting. Have you heard the controversy about like Stephen A. Smith talking about how like she's no Beyonce?
There's one thing she's not.
She ain't Beyonce.
I know she's not Beyonce, but
You heard that?
No.
See, here's my hot take. Here's my hot take.
What an idiot comment.
I like Rihanna more than Beyonce myself.
Oh, stop it!
We can argue about that now.
We can stop this recording.
I look forward to
Beyonce's
a Rihanna
my girl.
halftime show more than Beyonce. Beyonce, no hate, no hate toward her, but I like Rihanna.
Where is that? Somewhere I have a Destiny's Child poster.
Oh,
It's like a
where is
card,
that? It's
like
right above your bed. We know where it's at.
it's like a cardboard thing that my roommate in college gave me, and my wife hates it, but I've kept it all this time. It's in a closet somewhere, I think.
That's funny.
Unless she threw it away and didn't tell.
Did not. I'm always learning new things about you, Josh. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
All
see you
right.
at the Super Bowl.
All right. See you at the Super Bowl. Go Game Ball.
Go Game Ball. Oh, I gotta stop it, don't I?